advisor on labor migration. I manage a program called Better Regional Migration Management Program, funded by the UK Foreign Commonwealth Development Office. I cover 7 countries in Eastern Horn of Africa, Kenya being one, but Djibouti, Ethiopia, Somalia, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda.
So tell us the reason of why we're here today.
Today is basically to work with the media, to engage the media in terms of the current dynamics on labor migration in Kenya, so that the media make sure that they report fairly on labor migration issues, because it's not always clear. There's issues of trafficking, the smuggling, the labor migration. There's, of course, refugees, asylum seekers. There's different contexts of migration which sometimes get mixed up. So we want to provide that clarity in terms of what is labor migration, what is the government of Kenya doing in terms of labor migration, what is the ILO doing in support of labor migration governance in the country, as well as a bit in the region, but as well as to get key data, statistics on labor migration in the region generally. And of course, Kenya have a regional as well as global commitment that they have made as Kenyan, that the media needs to be aware of, so that you report fairly and accurately.
Exactly. So now let's just bring it back.
Kenya is doing pretty well, as I indicated in my presentation. Kenya is doing well in terms of developing strategy, policy, as I said, in the Eastern Horn of Africa. In terms of labor migration policy, Kenya is leading. Kenya is the first country that have adapted a labor migration policy in this region, in the Eastern Horn of Africa region. Of course, recently Somalia have also adapted, but Kenya have adapted a while ago. Kenya have further developed, for example, the skill strategy for labor migration. Again, this is the first of its kind in our region. So Kenya is leading in this regard. Moreover, Kenya has also signed bilateral labor agreements. Majority of the bilateral agreements signed from this part of the region usually is with the Gulf countries, while Kenya have managed to sign with Austria, with Germany, with the UK. So this is a big achievement for our region, because this will also allow us to move towards from low-skill migration towards semi-skilled and skilled migration, because that's the route most of the countries in Eastern Horn of Africa would like to take. Because one of the issues also, as you know, with low-skill migration, there's a lot of challenge in terms of protection, exploitation, and abuse is happening. Meanwhile, with semi-skilled and skilled workers, that tends to be reduced significantly. And currently, again, Kenya is leading in that regard. In terms of the number, I'm just quoting the PS, I think says from January till now, till yesterday, 40,000 or 50,000 Kenyans have left the country regularly. The problem with that is we usually focus on the regular migration, which have gone through the process verified by NEA and the Ministry of Labor. However, sometimes, of course, there's irregular migration from any country as well, which we don't get. They tend to get the data or the clear picture. Generally, I think one of the challenges we do have beyond the culture and religion is also communication, language barrier, because that also creates a challenge. Currently, of course, putting in place the right policy is one of the way. And as ILO, actually, we have signed a development cooperation back in June with Saudi Arabia, and some of the areas of work that we plan to support the government of Saudi Arabia is in terms of labor migration is one of the critical aspects that we will cooperate with in terms of improving the legal situation in Saudi Arabia as well. We're, of course, working from the country of origin side here, from Kenya side as well, working with the government in policy development, establishment of migrant resource centers, so that migrants have access to information as well. I think sometimes we always talk about rights being abused, but as well as I think there's a need to create awareness on what the obligations of the migrant workers are as well. Because if they can do their job right as well, the abuse will decrease. Sometimes not having adequate skills for the job they're undertaking is also critical. We're working with NITA in terms of recognition of prior learning as well, and then developing curriculum as well in different sectors. So we're working at both ends, from the country of origin, from Kenya side, as well as from the country of destination, Saudi Arabia, in this regard.
Thank you.